Before you go, girl. Hey everybody, it's Paint with Josh. We're back in the studio with you again today, and I just so happen to remember that literally right now I have to do this real quick and put this guy on my front page. So you guys got to tell me where you're watching from. What's your favorite sandwich? I can't believe I forgot. And I'll show you what we've already got done going on our 20-inch by 24-inch canvas today, you guys. It's gonna be fantastic. So let me know where you're watching from. What's your favorite sandwich, of course? And let's change this guy up just a little bit. Here we go. Over there, over there. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Excellent. Excellent, excellent. All right, you guys, we've got our 20 by 24 inch canvas today. Nice and wet and already prepped and primed and everywhere, right? All over should have just about the same amount of that liquid white paint onto our canvas. Not too much, right? But you definitely got to have enough. If you don't have enough, it's going to be a lot more difficult to do. Now, I figure with this little scene today, let's get away with 5 colors. We're going to add red into our sky, a little bit of a pinky reddish sky right up here. All right, and the more that you go into your sky with the amount of paint, it's very vibrantly red, and then it starts to blend away because, again, the canvas is wet, right? Taking wet paint, putting it onto a wet surface. A little bit of our crimson around this guy, just so it changes up its little red flavor a little. There we go. Now, remember, all of our blue is going to want to come and just decimate our little pink area. So we have to decide how much of our blue we want to leave on our canvas, how much we want to leave in the sky, how much you want to blend it. How far can you get the paint to push down and blend and get this stuff to disappear? Right? Because the blue is just continually wanting to cover our canvas and end up growing way too far. That's what happens. Every time you put it on, you always put on too much. At least I do. Now, out over here into our black. Gotta have the Bob Rossi black. Just dull down part of our sky. It doesn't all need to be the same. Right? We're only going to use about 4 to 5 colors for this whole painting. And eventually they're going to start to mix together, right? So don't worry about it too much. Don't worry about it too much. And the more that we add up there, right, the more it's going to spread and grow when we hit it with our brush. And the less that you have on the brush, the more it's going to kind of dissipate and blend in with that white paint. Right? Don't even need to cover our whole canvas, literally. What we do need to do is wash out this brush, though, because it's got too much paint to do anything with. Right? Now, what's your favorite color to use, you guys? What color do you prefer to use the most, right? For me, white. I love the snowy scenes. You gotta have some white in there, right? Trick question almost. Let's get out here into our 2-inch brush, nice and dry, up into our lightest area first, and we'll start to blend it, kind of getting some of the paint to get onto our bristles. And then we'll get out here into that bluer area, and the more that you mix it, right, not necessarily trying to bring it all down, just mixing it in those 2 little areas back and forth, kind of bringing it down, going back up, bringing it down, over here, over here, over here, very lightly just softening it so you get that gradient kind of misty look to it, right? Very simple. All we're trying to do, blend it until it looks soft. I don't want it to be like a real harsh line in between the blue and the pink or whatever. Just very soft, very muted. Soft little wintry time sky. Just a wintry sunset if you've ever seen one. All right, remember, the more paint that's on our brush, the more it's going to drag across. So the more paint that's up on the canvas, the more it's going to drag across. Look at the differences, right? You can even go back in here and make it even softer just by going over it a few more times. You get to decide what you want it to look like, right? Every time that we do it, it can look a little softer, a little different, a little pink hue out in there. Really cool. Really, really cool, you guys. Now, let's go back in here, grab up a little of our white, and since we're using 5 colors today versus 4, we're gonna grab a little of our red as well, just on the bottom, bang, right there. Don't wanna make it too crazy But maybe underneath this guy, we got a couple little pink pops of cloud. Oh, isn't that fantastic? Isn't that just epically fantastic? Literally doing the exact same thing with our white paint that we normally do, but we're using a little pinky, little red color to it, okay? So we'll get out here with our 1-inch brush and start to mix it up. Remember, anything that you don't like in your sky, you can always go over and cover it over with a big old mountain, right? As long as you start low enough anyway. Little mix, soft little pink hue out into the daytime sky, right? Where do you want it to be? Totally up to you. Let's go back, wipe off our brush, get a little of our white, and say maybe we had a whole nother little guy right underneath the guy, right? A little bit brighter, more paint, and then we can go back with a little softer touch so it doesn't all blend away terribly, right? Over here, over there. And again, our sky doesn't have to be the most intense thing you've ever seen if you're gonna have a lot of detail in the front, right? Really, all we're really looking for out there is a little difference between the blue, right? Like, oh, okay, I see a couple things out there. Now we've got to go back and mix up what we like to call Paint with Josh Plaque. It's a 3-color mix that makes up this really dark, purplish, blackish color. So we call it Plaque, right? Just like that. Mix it up, whoop, mix it up. Over here and over there and over here. Now, once we've got it all mixed, you shouldn't be able to tell any of the 3 colors that we use besides the people that are typing them in the comments. Thank you all for typing in those colors, even if I forgot to ask. Let's get over here, scrape up a little bit of our paint, literally removing it so it forms this little roll onto our knife. And let's get up here and start popping in. Where do we want our enormous little mountain chain to be? And what do you want it to look like? Right? Do you want to have it all scraggly? Do you want to have it look like a pyramid out there? Right? All up to what you want it to be. I never like it looking like a pyramid. I got to have a couple little dents, some things that are poking out, some irregularities, right? Because not every mountain is the sharpest, craziest peak that you've ever seen, right? Some of them might be, but most of them aren't, right? So you can tend to flatten it off like that, and it'll make just a cooler shape, especially when we go to pull on it with our brush, right? Flatten it off, a couple little jigs and jags and little bumps and humps, and boom, off to the races we go, right? Now, all we need to do is grab our 1-inch brush and start to push on it, right? How far do you want the paint to drag? That's up to you. And we know we can't drag it all in the same direction. We gotta start going the other way. Right? Slide it down one way, slide it down the other way, and all of a sudden, look at that. You got one little mountain sitting out there in the night, right? Just by the way that we pull the brush. Super easy. Drag this guy down over here. Maybe he's real sharp, and then paboosh, cuts right in front of his little friend over here. Boom, 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 right? This side obviously going to be sliding off in that direction. Pulling it, pulling it, pulling it. See how we're coming up right to the edge of our little straight down sections and then pulling off in the other direction. Not going all the way up here to the edge and dragging across. That would literally X out what we did and take it away. Right? Over here, push on a little harder. Blend it a little more. Right? The soft little mountain peak in the distance. Right? Say you want it to look a little sharper. A little top tipper, a little tip topper. You get to make those decisions when you get up there, right? Up to nobody else except what we want it to look like, guys. And we're our own judge of what we want it to look like, right? Drag this guy down over here. A little bit of excess color, darkness, a couple little different things. And then you get to go back and use this as a template to then go and highlight your mountain shape, right? Say we need to mix up a bit of our white, a tiny amount of our red for our highlight color. And I'm talking about tiny amount, more white than red. You don't want it to be totally pink snow. We just want to have a hint of pink. There we go. That's going to be gorgeous right there. Gorgeous, you guys. Remember, you can head over to PaintWithJosh.com and grab this painting. It's the very first thing you're going to see on PaintWithJosh.com if you head over there now. You got to be first come, first serve, though. Otherwise, it could disappear. And then don't blame me if it's not there and you didn't get there in time. All right, first come, first serve. This is how I make my living, guys. I come up here and teach you how to paint. We sell paintings. We're going to grab a little of our plaque right here and try to survive as an artist. It's a tough thing. It is a tough road to walk. All right, over here, scrape up a little bit of our blue, come off the backside of our mountain peaks, and maybe just let it rip down. All right, just the amount of our pressure is going to allow all that paint to slide off right along the edge Slide it down that way. Oh, I thought that was it. I thought that was it, you guys. Over here, the more we go, there's another one. Hey! I knew, I had a feeling. I just had a feeling, you guys. I just had a feeling. I got a feeling. Woo. Oh, is it Lynn? Lynn loves a winter scene, I guess. Thank you, Lynn. I appreciate you. Was it this painting, by the way? I didn't even look. It must have been. It must have been this one. Yes. Okay, cool. It was this one. So, Lynn, you're awesome. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. We're going to come into here. Let's say we drag off our little shadowy areas over here. Right? The more you drag it off on the one side, the more your light's going to be casting, right? We can't go white snow everywhere. It just doesn't work. You want to have at least some bits of your mountain kind of in the shadows, right? Not everywhere is going to be catching all the same amount of light. Get right up on that little ridge that we created. Right up there like that. And that way our light is going to be casting itself down and back and away from all of this shadowy goodness, right? Now, come over into our little pinky bit of snow. Literally remove, cut across, just like that, right? So you get that little roll out onto your knife. Come up here and let it suction cup against the canvas, and then we can start doing crazy things. Bang, until there's none left, right? Drop it off that way. Maybe this side's casting just straight down. Boom, boom, boom. How lightly can you do it, right? You don't want to do it so heavily that it's a big old glob up there, right? And then on the other side, you don't want to have it so light that you can't even barely see it. So you have to sort of be the judge on what it looks like, where your light casts, where it maneuvers over, right? Because it's not just that line that we're trying to flow against. We could come out and across that line, right? Going in the other direction, having little things. You can pull it down in this direction and have a whole other thing happen, right? All depends on what we want it to do, guys. You can drop down again, come out to the side across those little blue bits and literally pull it straight sideways, like we're making little steps down, literally. We get to pick. It's up to us what it looks like, right? Now, let's grab up. We need to mix up a little bit more of it because we never make up enough snowy goodness. One little bit of that red, a lot of bit of white. You don't want to have it be too bright with the red, right? We're not making like an icing mountain out here. We want it to be pretty white, just a little hint of that pinky color. Just like Tanisha was painting earlier today. Very cool. She always inspires me, and she makes me want to paint. Like I see her doing it on her show. She always does it earlier in the day versus than me, right? I'm so just like at a loss for words today. I can't even speak. I don't know what it is. But I always watch her, and it makes me want to do more paintings. I'm like, oh man, that's cool. I'm gonna do my version of that, or I want to try to do this, or I need to teach people how to do this or that or whatever. And so thank you to Tanisha. She's awesome. If you don't know who it is, you better figure it out quick. Look at that, you guys. Isn't that neat? Isn't that neat what you can do? Just a little bit of light. Say we wanted to pull a little bit more horizontally and have it drag out a bit further over those shadows, right? Fill it in a bit more. There's a little bit more land over there, right? We get to decide what it does. Then we can grab this guy and just pop a little bit of that color by literally grabbing the very base of it, sliding it down off the other edge. You could always go up if you needed to and add more of that shadowy mix. It's literally the same color in this instance, so we're not going to see anything. But you could if you needed to. You could take a little bit of that darkness, our original mountain color, and chuck that in underneath just to have those real deep dark areas down around the base. Right? It all depends on what you want it to look like, or you go back over it again, right, until you like it. That's the whole point of doing these things. Until you like it, you go back over it again, right, until you like it. That's the whole point of doing these things. Until you like. Hang on one second, guys. Let me get this thing plugged in. We almost lost the stream. Here we go. Are you there? Are you ready? Sweet. Are we back? You guys there? I almost lost you because I forgot to plug my phone in like an idiot. Hey, there you go. So, you guys, I'm going to come around here, like I said, any little thing you want to do, you can do. Right? If you want to project up a little bit of light, or you want to do this, or you want to do that, whatever it is, you can make it happen on your own, right? All different kinds of ways that painting can shake out, So let's take our 2-inch brush like this. We're gonna go up the side, over around the edge, up our little guy over here, right? Because each time we were going down this way with our knife, right? Say you had a double-sided tool going down one way, which means we have to go up this way. If we came down this way, we have to go up that way, right? All depends on how you did your angles of your little snowy bits. So for instance, in this blue section, we need to very lightly just touch it 1 or 2 times, that's it. Just to have it soften, and we're not even touching it enough to have more than that paint, right? That's it, that's all that we're literally touching. So very lightly that you can literally barely even see it, right? Very cool. Soft little mountain out there. Man, that thing's looking neat. It's looking neat. Now you gotta go from that super soft touch to a lot harder of a feel. And at this point, we're gonna make all that mistiness that you like, right? Get all that distance from this misty part. Back in here and over there, and we're dabbing into it, right? Literally dabbing it, bending the bristles, and then dabbing them further away. Same thing over here. We're dabbing into it, dabbing it further away in the way that you want your mountain to flow down. Right? So we'll come over here and we'll come over there and we'll tap at it. Tap at it and tap at it and tap at it. Not necessarily trying to grab the thickest parts of the paint. Just the part down here where it started to kind of fall off. Right? Tap and tap and tap and tap and tap. Do our one little transition up from each side all the way around like it's the center of a clock right here. Right? All the way around and down. Then you can come in here and mix any little brush strokes that you have, and all of a sudden you've got a floating mountain out there in the mist. Right? What do you want it to look like? That's up to us, isn't it? We're gonna have to make up some more of our Paint with Josh plaque mix though, because we're gonna need some trees, some mid-ground, some foreground, all sorts of stuff, and this is my favorite kind of color mix to do all that stuff with, right? Very limited palette for as far as the colors, and limited tools is what I like to show you in many of my videos. You can find over on youtube.com/paintwithjosh. What a segue. Woo, that was just effortless. All right, let's get in here with our placky mix. I'm gonna come down and mix it up, pull it down and drag it through all the bristles. See what we're doing over here? Dragging it through the bristles, all the way down and around. Just kind of spreads the bristles out, fills them with paint, and then we can come back in. Let's say there's a further away little guy way back here. All right, very sharp little dabs, little tip tops of our far away trees. You don't even have to make them too big. All right, we don't want to cover up our awesome little ridge back in here. So we're staying into the misty area that we created. And it's usually, I like to make it in a little U shape like that, right? You don't have to be horrendously dark. You don't have to go so far up that you hit all of your snow, because that's when you start having problems back there. Because when you're going up and hitting all that snow, it turns into a lot of muck. Okay, so stay away from that area. Come in here with a little lift. Just giving it a little lift. It needs an old lift, right? Back in there, just a little lift. All we're doing, softening the paint. So now it's not as textured as it was. And then we're gonna come back in, and we're gonna do our little taps again, right? But in this instance, we're only gonna do them up and down and up and down and up and down versus going around our mountain. Our forest is much more of a 2D thing, right? There's some depth back in there for sure, but it's much more of a 2D thing versus our mountain being a 3D thing, right? Mist, again, take this guy, mix it up. We don't need to see every single bit or every brush stroke or whatever, right? All of a sudden you get a little bit of forest back there. Just a soft little thing in the night. Now, I want to get a lot more paint on the brush. Come in from a different spot. Right here, we're gonna have another little bit of forest kind of crisscrossing in front. All right, so again, we're tapping down, coming up, tapping down. We want it to be a darker color, so we're gonna have to go back to the brush, back to the palette numerous times in order to keep it darker. Then we're gonna come up and make sure we got a little sharp top as we cut down in front of the foggy mist of our next guy down here. All you really need, right? We're not doing too much, not adding too much detail, nothing crazy out here, right? And again, the more the edge that we go, the less we care about it. Let's take our 2-inch brush again, up from the bottom, just dragging maybe 10 million little tree tops into the back. Not so far up that we're gonna hit our mountain or any part of our snow. We don't wanna drag through that, right? Down there like that. Very cool, guys. Now, at this point, you could literally pull them down for reflections or make them misty like we did over here. I'm gonna go for the mistiness. Is that the AC unit? That's all right. I'm gonna go for the mistiness. And as we tap down, literally just hitting the top corner and going down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, down. Gotta make a song out of it if you want. I'm not gonna do it, but you guys can make a song out of it if you want. Right? Same thing. Bang. Right? If you wanted to do your reflective bits, you pull them down very lightly, pull them over to the side, and you get your reflective area, right? I think we're gonna do one more little layer, and then we got all this foreground to work with, right? Our midground off in the back, two little different sections. One's lighter, one's coming in different areas, right? So we know we're gonna have to put something right here in order to block that transition. Right there, something a lot on the edge, something out on this edge. We're moving and grooving, you guys. Can you feel? Can you feel it? Because we're moving and grooving. We gotta put some of the blue color onto the sides of our canvas over here. Sometimes, especially if you don't prep the side of your canvas, it becomes the hardest thing to do, putting blue on the edge of your white canvas if it's not already wet. So make sure you got either some liquid white on your brush or that you've already pre-done the sides with the liquid white in order to get it to spread evenly across the sides. Man, that's cool. That is a neat little painting, you guys. Okay, so depending on where we plop our midground and foreground items, depends on our depth, right? So I kind of like starting near the middle. You don't want to go dead center in the middle. That's going to be weird. Right in the center, that'll be a little strange, okay? So let's go off center, a little bit taller than our tree in the background. Make sure it's a little taller than our trees, a little bit lower, and then we'll come in and just put the corner of the brush onto the canvas, right? So literally putting the corner and pushing in as hard as you can. Obviously, if I turn the brush, it's going to make the branches much bigger, right? If I want them small, I'm just going to use the corner, popping out and making each branch boom, 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 until we get down to a place where now we can use the full brush and pop side to side and side to side. The fan brush is literally built and designed to make this shape for you, right? You can do it. All you need is a little bit of know-how. Take the base, pull it out this way, pull it out that way. Right? Got your little check mark shape, makes it look a lot more 3D than if you were to just pull it straight across at the bottom, at least to me, right? At least that's how I see it. Now all of a sudden, your mountain's further away, your trees are further away. Now you got this guy, right? What are you gonna do with him? Does he need a friend? Does he have pals? Where do his pals live, right? And you guys are gonna have to start coming up with a title for this painting. Since Lynn got it during the live show, she gets to choose the title at the end. So if you've got the most wickedest title, make sure you're putting it in the comments, especially when we get towards the end of the show, and we get that titling section, right? Maybe we had one more little friend, a little taller. Bink. Maybe he's on an angle because an old moose stepped on him when he was little, pushed him off onto the side. Boom, boom, boom. Little guys, right? Not trying to overfill it, not trying to do much, just trying to have a little bit of depth in there. And you can see, if we swipe it higher back here and lower back here, that tree's gonna look like it's further back, just by the smallest amount, right? All depends on where we're brushing it. Our brush is telling the story. As lame as that sounds, it really is. It really is telling a story. Let's get in here to our white paint. Just a little touch of our white. Actually, we need a lot. See that? And pulling it down, getting all that goopiness over onto the brush. And then we're gonna come over here and drop it. Right? Just gonna drop it like it's cold, because it's snow, obviously. It's not gonna be hot. I don't know about you guys. All right, lame dad joke. Here we go. Blending it out, right? Now you got your snow. You didn't really even have to paint anything. The majority of this is gonna be snow anyway, right? As long as we don't cover over too much of it, we don't have to add too much paint either, right? Go back to our fan brush that's already just getting overly loaded with paint. And let me ask you a question. Do you think with this amount of plaque in my brush right this second that we have enough paint to make another tree similar in size to this guy? If you think we do have enough paint, just type the word yes into the comments. And if you think we don't have enough paint, then type the word no. And I'm gonna try to work with the paint that's on the brush and the little paint that's in this pile. We're gonna see if we can make another tree. What do you guys think as we load it up? I'm not gonna do anything different to the brush, right? We got a lot of yeses. We got a lot of yeses over there. You got a lot of yeses. All right, we're gonna try. Let's try it out. Are you sure? All right, we'll try it out. We'll come over here. Let's skip over a little bit because now we've got our shadowy side of our little mound that our trees are sitting on. And when our new one comes down, it's gonna have to cut in front of this guy. So we're gonna set our tree a little further over, make him a little taller, and have him sit down a little bit lower, right? That's gonna make this tree look much closer, at least a little closer, than our trees back here. Now I told you, do we have enough paint? Here comes the test. We're gonna come at it just the corner. Remember, you want them to be so chunky and so textured. Otherwise, they're not going to pick up our next bit of our highlight and shadow area if you don't have a very textured area right here. And apparently, you guys are correct. We've had enough to make our little tree. And if you want to, leave a little trunk out the bottom. All you gotta do, leave your trunk, pop a little bit of backwards and forwards right there. Boof, he's sunk into the snow, right? Super simple, guys. You guys can do this, I'm telling you. Let's make up a couple more, well, at least a little more of our plaque mix so we can throw a couple more trees down, right? Now, for all the new people that are watching, maybe some of my regulars are gonna have to tell them what the 3-color mixture is that makes up this Paint with Josh plaque, because it's a big deal in the Paint with Josh world. In my videos, we use this mixture of paint a whole heck of a lot. And then we finally gave it a name as Paint with Josh plaque. And no, it's not that plaque, right? Not that plaque. But let's see, is anybody telling you guys the answer? Anybody? Blue, black, and crimson. Lynn knows. Plurkle. We were going to go with Plurkle, but Plurkle was already a thing. You know what I mean? So let's do a couple little really streaky tops on the edges of our trees right here. Run it back and forth with your knife like that. Makes a really sharp top. And then as well, if you've got enough, watch this, come off the backside. Tanisha was doing this in her show earlier today. If you make enough of these little lines back here, right, it's gonna make it look like there's more sticks and little things kind of growing up in between the trees, from behind the trees. And all you gotta do is take the time to make those little lines out there. And when we go and cover over all of our tree bit, we're not gonna see any of our little streaks and stuff, right? Very simple little thing. You can also make the same little guys that grow up out of the snow, right? Popping up away from our little edge, or right in front of our little tree, just by removing it, literally scraping it away from the paint, right? Taking it off of the canvas. Now that we've got a little bit more plaque mix, let's see what we're gonna do. We could drop in one more tree onto this side. Ooh, we could do some sticky trees back in here too. There's a lot of room. There's a lot of room. All right, let's come in here. Let's do a sticky tree and a half, right? We'll come in here, grab up our paint, loading our brush up, right? And say we came down, it's gotta be taller than our mountain. So why don't we just go full blast, 24-inch tree, bow, a 23-inch tree anyway. The higher you go and the lower you go, the more it's going to make this tree look close to us, right? And as well, it needs to be thick enough to make sense. It's gotta be thicker than the trunk of this tree, right? I mean, we're not gonna be doing the same thing, but obviously, this tree wouldn't be so tall without a big old base, right? Gotta have a big old base on it. So we'll go out here like that, boom, boom, boom. Then you can add tree branches and all sorts of stuff hanging off of this guy, little things out in the night, right? Let's do one more little guy. He doesn't need to be as tall though. We'll go light pressure into heavy pressure into boom. Our tree grows together just like that. And all of a sudden, our one little chunky guy has become two little chunky bits. Right? All in on its own. Little bit, little bit, little bit. Boom. Right? Missing all of that blue snowy area. Haven't put down any white snow like we did back here, so there's nothing to drag through and make this color change on us, right? So it stayed very dark, and its darkness and its height and where it sits is really gonna bring it forward into our scene. Isn't that just fantastic? Right, same thing, we come up around this guy. So we're starting a little higher, gonna be a little lower in the center, and then a little higher on the edge, which will make it look a little bit more rounded, right? To me, is it, or am I crazy? Am I the crazy one? You guys let me know if I am. But that makes it look a little bit more round than if you were to just straight off the bottom, right? Just to me, in my own self, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. Look at that. A couple little shadows, and all of a sudden you've got a snowy field that you know we didn't even paint. We didn't even put any snow down there yet, right? All because we didn't overdo it. We haven't put too much of our darkness or too much of anything. Hey, a little white, a little shadow, a little white. Very, very cool. Okay, let's throw in one more tree, and I'm gonna ask you guys one more time. Do you think we have enough paint in this pile now, right? In that pile right there, and what's on the brush, yes or no, do we have enough to make our tree bigger than this guy, right? Bigger than these, bigger than this, not as big as this guy, but maybe about from here down to here. Do we have enough paint on the pile, yes or no? And I'm gonna already start making more, because I don't think we do. We got yes, 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 you guys, I don't know. You guys are always, you're pretty right. Every time that I do it, when I ask the question, you guys are normally right. So we're gonna trust you guys this time. With this amount of paint onto the brush, here comes our foreground pine tree. Little happy guy. Right over here, it's gotta be taller. We wanna miss all of this white. So let's go right there. We're gonna come down, boop, because it's gotta sit down further than this guy, but not as close as this guy, right? You don't want them to be on the same level. That way you can kind of bounce back and forth like a little zigzag with your eyeballs. Guys, I don't think we have enough, but we're gonna try. Let's get up here, very small little dabs with the corner, right? Just a corner, until we get down to a point where pushing against the corner isn't getting any bigger, right? If we just went like this and pushed against the corner, it would just be a very skinny tree all the way down. Eventually, we have to start turning and using the whole brush now to bounce back and forth, like a little Z shape all the way down, except we're filling it in, right? We don't want it to look like a little Charlie Brown Christmas tree out there. I want mine to be nice and full. No spaces. Was your mom like super crazy about the Christmas tree not having holes in it? Because my mom was a nutcase. Like we either had to spin the tree, I don't know guys, let me try. We either had to spin the tree so the holes were facing the back, or like, was my mom the crazy, or were there other people out there that had to go through that around Christmas time? No, spin it again. No, that's got it. No, I can see the hole even more now. Spin it one more time. Anyone else have to go through that, or was it just me? I just asking. That's all. Just asking. Yes, you would. Okay, same, perfect. I'm glad it was other people. I'm really glad. Yeah, no holes in this guy. Right, he's good enough for Grandma Paint with Josh. Gonna go up and again, pulling it a little higher, a little lower in the center, so it makes it look a little bit more 3D, at least to me. Right, the more plaque mix that you drag out, the darker your shadows will be. We don't want them to necessarily be too dark and prominent, so we're gonna kind of mix it in until it kind of ombres a little bit, and we can't really tell. Thank you for the gifts, guys, I love ya. Can't really tell, right? Mix it. Very lightly, into rough, into light. Boom, 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 right? That's your little guy out there, and I can almost see like a little unwalked path, fresh, frozen ice. You guys were right. You were totally correct, by the way. We did have enough paint. You guys are the professionals. I obviously don't know what the heck I'm talking about. Obviously, it's been proven. Thank you for the gifts. I appreciate you. All right, since we said we were only going to do a 5-color, I am holding up 5 fingers. Hang on. 5-color for this painting, right? We're going to need to mix up a little bit of blue and white for our shadows on our big guy. And just for our shadows on our little tree in here, you can literally go a little bit of our titanium white, right? A little line of it. Come in here and just very lightly in some places, just little things, right? Little indication of a trunk back here in our tree. Back in there, little guy. They don't all even have to be in the same spot, right? So you don't want to go top, and bottom, right? We don't want to do that, so we ended up connecting them so they're all in different places. You're gonna get a little touch on the bottom of your little tree down in there. We'll end up covering over this guy, and then we'll only really see just a little piece of wood, if anything, on the way up, right? Very cool. We're gonna do the same exact thing with this big guy, but it's going to take a lot longer and a lot more paint to try to make our barky look, right? The more that we're going to tap at this guy, the more frozen barkiness he's going to be. And then we're going to need a lot of texture so it stays white. I like that. We'll have this frozen wood all the way up our tree trunk, right? But first things first, should we go back in and highlight all these guys, or should we do our trunk? I'm gonna let you guys decide. You guys can decide, right? A fresh, clean, wiped off palette knife. You decide, should we do our big tree highlights, put some branches on them, and then do all these guys? Or should we go do our highlights first? Considering, what would you do if you were painting it, right? If I'm thinking, if we're gonna put branches off of this and it's gonna crisscross in front of this guy, we should probably do the trees first. I'm just saying. So, what do you guys think? I've given you the answer. See, Kat says the trunk. We got highlights. Okay, Libby Lovegood. That's a cool screen name. Libby says highlights, guys. So, let's go do highlights. Let's get in here with our little brush. Little teeny tiny guy, and I'm sure we're probably going to need to get some more of our liquid white. So a little smaller fan brush. This one is literally falling apart. Smaller fan brush with some liquid white on it, and then we're going to come in here with our phthalo blue, right? And make our phthalo blue not only a brighter color, but more wet in its consistency, right? And that way it will transfer off of the brush and stick to our plaque with ease, right? If we have to push on it too hard, it's not going, then we don't have the correct mixture, right? If you've got to come up here and really smash on all of your texture to get that blue to come off, then something's wrong in this end, right? We don't need all that stuff. You want it to be a wet enough consistency, not like water, right? Not like watercolors or anything like that, but wetter, almost like acrylic, right? Versus these really firm, dry paints. You almost want it wet enough to where just with the smallest little tip tap of your branch or your brush, it will deposit that blue color or white color or whatever, right? And we're gonna not try to get it in between every single bit. We don't need to see every single branch of every single tree, right? You're never gonna see that. And we need to get more liquid white, otherwise this is not gonna work. Guys, if you don't know what liquid white is, this is what it looks like. You can get it from like Amazon or bobross.com or whatever. Right, you can get it from over there. But if you want to make it yourself, I've never done it, right? But it is a 50-50 mix of your odorless mineral spirit paint thinner cleaner and titanium white is what this stuff is, right? You can make it on your own. I suggest just getting it already done, and then you don't have to question whether or not the consistency is right, or at least try it from the store once so you can at least see what it looks like before you try to make your own. People ask me all the time, and this is what it looks like, right? It's very drippy, runny paint, literally falling off the knife in a drip like, what are those, like acrylic pores, you know what I mean? That's the consistency you want it in. Very drippy, very runny. And that way it's like water, and it acts like water when we go to paint, right? It lightens our paints up, it thins them down, it acts as a water line. You can use it as all sorts of stuff, stars, snow, all sorts. And what I do is get a little touch of it, put it in my petri dish, is what I like to call it, because there's something definitely growing in there by now. And that way I've got a little place where I can dip a brush full of paint, get some liquid white onto it, and not contaminate my full jar, right? That's not what you want to do. Get a $30 jar of paint and then ruin it by dipping your brush inside. No. I always put it in one of a little lid or something. And so we'll get our our liquid white back into our phthalo blue, so you can see again the consistency is much different. It's much more runny and wet, right? We'll come off of that. Literally, it will deposit easier right off of your brush. Seriously, you don't even have to do much. Little teeny taps. If you are trying to push too hard, you're going to mush all the texture from our original plaque mix. You're going to smash it all, right? And once it's all smashed, then it's not going to look like a tree. It's not going to take the highlight and have it shaped like tree branches. It's just going to be a mess, right? So don't push too hard when you're trying to do it. That's all we say. Very light little touch and a light little amount of paint, because you can always go back and add more. You can never, what? What does Josh always say? You can always add paint to your canvas, but you can never... Somebody say it, come on. Somebody out there in internet land knows what I'm saying. You gotta let me know. Yes, Cosmic Lighthouse knows, right? Cat knows. What's up, Peyton? Hey! Let's get over here into our titanium white and the liquid white mix, right? And because we didn't wash off our brush that well, it's a little bit bluey, but it's not as bluey as over here, right? You can still see the difference between the shadowy snow and the bright snow. We'll get over here, a little teeny touch right on the edge, right? Over here, and again, such a soft touch that it pops off the brush and doesn't really do much, right? We don't need to show every single bit, right? We don't need it to cover every single piece. We want some pieces to remain that dark color, right? And other pieces be nice and bright. You want to catch more light on the edge? Catch some more light on the edge, but just be very careful, right? We don't have to light up the whole thing, and if we do, boy, oh boy, we're not gonna like the results, let me tell you that. Come over here, we'll use what we've got left on the brush, just literally tapping against it at this angle, with the angle of the brush, you know what I mean? Everything about this is part of the procedure, right? It's a thought about motion. Nothing about this is random. I'm not coming in at a random part or holding it at a random angle. Everything is calculated in the brain, right? How we're holding the brush versus what the shape looks like, okay? I'm telling you, it's not. It's easy if you're doing it the right way, but if you're not, it doesn't come out the same. And I get the question all the time, why doesn't mine come out like yours? Make sure you go see somebody. Go see a Bob Ross certified instructor even, right? Just to know how to hold the brush right. And then even after they teach you, you might even like it a different way, right? Practice, go find a brush, find a different brush. Get all sorts of different brushes and try them and see which ones you like the most, right? Speaking of brushes, we've got Paint with Josh brushes coming out in just a couple months. What a segue this guy's on. Man, he's on a roll. Look at those little bits. Man, that's fantastic. Gorgeous. I'm frozen, you guys. I'm freezing cold over here. Somebody bring me my coat. You guys. Oh, no, I need to... Now, we need to mix up some of our plaque mix in order to create some branches off of this guy, right? And then we're going to go in with our odorless mineral spirits and make that plaque mix runny like water, honestly. And so we're going to mix it up like this, nice and dark. We don't need a whole lot of it since we're just making some branches. We don't need to do a whole lot of anything, really. It doesn't need to be a whole huge amount of paint. I've probably mixed up more than we actually need, which is fine. But we'll go into our odorless mineral spirits and let it drip off, right, onto the palette in such amount that it will want to drip away, right? That's how you need it. That is not wet enough yet, even though it's way wetter than the top pile, right? Not yet enough because it's not running away from us, right? We want it to be almost so wet that it literally drips off of our palette and away. And that way, when you come off of it with your brush, it'll go for miles. It'll be so sharp, right? Just because it's got the right amount of that thinner in there, right? The thinner is what really thins the paint down. Can you imagine? It makes our paint on the brush thinner, so it will go across this thicker paint much easier, right? So, if you don't have enough of it in your pile, it becomes a big problem and your branches won't want to drag and spread very easily, right? It'll become there, you'll get these broken spots and it'll look like this in your branches, right? All those broken bits of that thick paint in your the branches, and especially towards the tip. Out here, zip, over there, we'll get another guy in, just a little flickaroony, bink, over there, zip, zap, chip, chap. How far do you want it to go off? Right, up to us. How thick is your branch holding all these pieces up? That makes a big deal in my book. Over here, you can cut across your whole tree if you want. Come back off of this guy, cut across him with a bigger, stronger branch. All up to us, guys. How do you want it to look? And I must say it a million stinking times in every video that we ever do. It's all up to you guys. It's your big tree. It's your massive branch. It's your everything. It's your mountain. It's your everything, right? Cut through that tree if you want. That's why we want to do those highlights before we come out and do our branches. Otherwise, you can't stick your highlights back over these guys. It just helps push that tree more into the distance, right? Little guy out here, little doer in the back. Some off the edge and a big monster. Kaboom! And then my favorite of all, the one that sticks right out the center and stabs me as I walk by. Right in the shoulder every time. Anytime I'm out in the woods. It's time for Josh to get stabbed by a branch. Here we go. Oh, bink, right into the back, off the side, right? Whatever you want them to look like, guys, they can look like. Now we get to go back with our same thing, our blue and our titanium white. This has the liquid white in it, which is exactly what we want. So it'll come off of our knife even easier. We need that bit of blue, a little touch of our plaque mix, so it darkens our blue down to like a bluish gray. Just like so. Thank you very much. Who's the professional around here? We come in and cut away, scoop away a little bit of our paint, come off the back side of our tree, right? And behind the white, you gotta have that little blue touch of a shadow. Just a little blue touch. Oh, I love it. Boom, boom, boom. Really makes it a little bit more round, right? It's farther away from our light. We're gonna see more of the blue than we would the white, right? And some of the times, you may not see it depending on the light that you're looking at it in, but you still wanna have that bit of blue paint, that blue texture back there, and then you can go back across it with your white. Now, the higher you go, the less blue you want, right? And the lower you go, the more blue is taking over the entire trunk. The higher we go up, the less it's taking, so we can see more of our light highlight colors. Right up the edge. Gorgeous. Gorgeous! Okay, let's get in here with our titanium white. We need to get one little sneak of our liquid white, just a little touch of it over here, just so it comes off the brush a little easier, or the knife a little easier. But you don't want it to be too wet, otherwise you won't have that consistency of bark. All right, so we'll come in here and we'll start tapping at it again, almost like making its little suction cup. You suction it against, and then when you pull it away, it leaves this little ridge. Right? If you don't have enough on your knife, it's not going to leave a little ridge. Go back up, start suction cupping. Right? Someone's like, "What's this tool? This suction cup tool?" I was like, no. It's just like when you touch the ridge of paint against the canvas, it sort of suctions against the canvas just automatically. Right? The higher you go up, the more white you want to see, the less shadow you want to see. The lower you go down, the more of your shadows. This guy being in the front, we can take a bit more of our white and kind of get more of his trunky bit. Right? All depends on you guys, how you want it to look. I've said it 50 times already. How do you want it to look? No matter what you do, you can't cover up all your darkness on your shadow side or all of your darkness on your light side. That's why we tap at it and move, not trying to make all of the brightness connect. Right, a little bit more of our titanium white over here, and we'll start tapping at the guy. Tap, 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 tap. Right, the thicker the paint, the more texture it's going to be, the crazier our little branch is going to be. Now all of a sudden, because we went over the branch, it's pushed it into the back of the tree back there. Almost looks like it's growing through it, which is kind of cool. Tapping it down, and then we're going back and working at it, kind of flattening those little ridges, just until we get it to look how we want, right? No one else is going to tell you how it's supposed to look. You've got to tell us how it's going to be, right? That's a cool one right there, guys. Whoo, baby. I like that right there. All right, let's say we had a couple little guys growing out the base over here, a few little guys growing out the base of our little tree trunk over here, just little sticks that you can remove, and then we'll go back in and that's fantastic. That is fantastic, you guys. I love it. I love this shelf back here, like that, just a glacial shelf catching all that light, just in steps. Super nice, catches a bit of real brightness right in here, brightness off the tree trunks. Every highlight on every tree in this painting is literally perfect. Ah, I just love it. All right, you guys got to start coming up with a title for it. I'm going to throw the old signature on it. We're going to do the light party for Lynn, and then do the old spinny winny wheel since Lynn got the painting during the live show. Where's my little sticker? Ha-ha, everybody. Let's get back up in here. Very small amount of paint onto the brush, and then just a little floopers back here. Flying through the night. That's what makes it a Paint with Josh painting right there. Is the old signature. So you guys start coming up with a title. What do you want to title this painting that Lynn got She got it during the live show, so she gets to choose its title forever. All right, it's going to be fantastic. She might choose your title suggestion if you put it in the comments. Now, if you're sensitive to light, photo, flashing, changing lights and all sorts of stuff, right, then you're going to want to turn your phone away for the next, I don't know, 10 or 15 seconds, because we're going to be having a light party and all these flashing crazy lights, right? So, it makes the painting look really cool, but it's also a flash warning for people that are sensitive to that sort of stuff. So we're going to do it in about 3, 2, 1. Oh no, I don't have the lights plugged in. Oh, it's a failure, you guys. Oh, that's hysterical. There we go. All right, 3, 2, 1. Light party! Boom! Look at that sucker. I'm going to clean off some of these brushes. Oh, that's funny. That is funny. My watch is like, thanks for standing. Good job for doing some moving around. Not like I've not been standing and doing a show for an hour. Looks pretty neat, you guys. Pretty neat. Oh, all right. The light party is now over. You can turn your phone back and look if you're sensitive to light. Start coming up with a title, and then Lynn will pick the title, and then the mods will pin the title, and then Josh will write the title on the painting. All right. There we go. This, did we clean this one? Did we not? I thought we did. All right. That. Winter Cathedral Mountain. You really want to test my spelling, don't ya? You guys know that Paint with Josh is not the best spellman. So I'm going to have to flip you guys around right here, right? We're going to come over here so I can see your comments, just like that, and be able to spell cathedral. How do you spell that, Josh? Winter Catheter Mountain. All right. Winter's Catheter Mountain. Is that spelled? Oh my goodness. Winter's Catheter. That's got to be cold. Down here, over there. I'm a comedian, you guys. I'm not really. I'm really not that funny. What number is this? Number 1461, I'm pretty sure. Winter Cathedral Mountain. Is it 1461? I'm pretty sure. Is it 1, guys? Anybody? Do I have paint by my eye? No. Do I? I don't see anything. I don't see it. I don't see it at all. All right. Winter's Cathedral. All right, one more time. Winter. Okay. Catheter. Catheter. Okay. Cathedral. How do you spell mountain? I think I can spell that part. All right. Mountain. Winter Cathedral Mountain, painted on 8/31 of 2023, and we're all going to go to PaintWithJosh.com because it's the bestest of all places on the interweb. Oh, I love it. I love it. By the way, we spelled it correctly. We spelled it correctly, and we put the right date. We put the right date. All right, before I wash off my final brush, I need to get the top of this guy all filled in with his little sky color. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. That way, the whole thing is all the way finished around the edges. Gorgeous. You guys, Winter's Cathedral Mountain. Pa-boom! Do I have paint right here? No, I don't see it. I don't see it. Maybe. Maybe I see it. Hang on. Is it right there? No. Still didn't even get it off. There we go. Man, this was a very cool little paint. You do. Thank you. I appreciate it. Do one for my wedding of a fishing theme. So, we don't paint fish or animals or... I mean, we've done like an orca. and a sea turtle and stuff. But I could do a certain river that you like to go to if you got a reference photo or something similar to it. You've seen how we do, and this one just came straight out of our brain, really. So, all up to, I'd have to really see a reference photo of the place, and then I'd be able to tell you if we could do it or not. But as far as like a fish jumping out of the water, wouldn't paint it. Can't do a fish underwater. I just wouldn't, like, I could do it, but it just wouldn't be, I just wouldn't have my heart in it, you know what I mean? So, it's just no fun if you do it that way. To me, anyway. So, I'm sorry. Congratulations on getting married, though. Be as miserable as all the rest of us who have ever been married. I paint birds, true. Those represent myself, my ex-wife, and our gorgeous daughter, and they go into every single painting as part of the signature ever since, like, day 10, I think. I don't know. It wasn't day 1, but it was early on. Okay. Send that over the head, you guys. Bring this one up. Hey, guys, all right. Over there. Over here, zip zap, chip chap. So you guys are amazing. Got the old puzzle we got to figure out here. Where does the piece go? It's so tough. I'm obviously standing right here, doing a show for an hour, and then they're like, "We want to make sure you're still there." Yeah, no, I'm here. If you can't see it, I'm right here. This guy. So thank you, Lynn, for your purchase of this amazing wintry painting. That did not come out very clean, you guys. I'm going to do that one more time. You guys can all head over to PaintWithJosh.com and find all sorts of stuff, just more than paintings. You got clothing and bags and, you know, pillows, puzzles, all sorts of fun stuff over on PaintWithJosh.com. Right? So if you head over there, you can get some awesome little things for nothing. Really. If you think like, oh, the paintings are much too expensive, right? The puzzles aren't. The posters aren't. There's all sorts of stuff over in the store that you could get if you wanted. PaintWithJosh.com. Head over there. If not, then don't. I don't know. Just whatever. It's whatever. You do what you want to do. Okay? Man, I gotta turn the air conditioning back on. It's getting steamy in here. Shoo, guys. All right, let me get the wheel, and then we'll spin the old wheel and see what Lynn got off the wheel. Oh, man, that hurt my wrist. This wheel's heavier than I thought. Here we go. Okay, so the old spinny winny. Whoops. There we go. If you can see it, it's gorgeous. Love this thing. It tends to hand out fantastic prizes when you get Paint with Josh paintings during the live shows, right? So if this is the first time you're ever seeing the old spinny winny wheel, you can get things like free candles, coffee mugs, t-shirts. You know, eventually I do have to win some things, right? We got drinking glasses and all sorts of stuff. Hats, puzzles, posters, and everything all around, right? So here we go, Lynn. Let's see what we get on this guy. Let's spin it around. Oh, I love that sound. Hey, we got one Glitterwix candle of your choice. And if it were up to me, I would pick the iconic candle. Just saying, it's a fabulous smell. But your choice of a Glitterwix candle, you're amazing, Lynn. You know what to do. Just send Glitterwix a message over there, and then they'll confirm it with me, and then we'll get the candle out to you and appreciate your purchase. Honestly, you guys were amazing. So, whew, man, that's a good full 1 hour show, wasn't it? The icon. No, the icon. Well, I know she just brought some of them back into stock, so you'll have to go back and check what's new over there. And then on Monday, if I don't know how many orders she has, but if she gets some orders over the weekend, then she'll go live and pour on Monday, and then tell you guys everything that's been going on. I just got 3 new Kronos ones. God, they're the best, honestly. So I'm starting to sweat, you guys. It's getting steamy in here. But you guys are amazing. You can always find more over on PaintWithJosh.com. I've got a YouTube channel that has more than 2,000 videos over on YouTube. You can scroll my TikTok all day long. Please do. I love you for it. We also have videos on Instagram and on Facebook. We're all over the place, guys. We just, I think we just hit 767,000 followers on Instagram, which is like, it's way too many people. We're at like 71,000 on Facebook, 124,000 on Threads, over 500,000 here on TikTok. It's insane. It's my own my own little emote. I know, it's crazy. Thank you, Jamie. I appreciate you. Don't ask me why. I'm just awesome, I guess. No, but I do love you guys. Thank you for tuning into the show and being here. I know there's many, many, many people you could watch on TikTok. I appreciate you being here with me and watching. I appreciate Lynn for purchasing. I appreciate you guys for tapping the screen and giving the comments and the gifts and everything. I just love you. I just love you all so much. So I'll come back in about an hour, maybe an hour and 15. Depends. And then we'll do another show. I kind of want to get more wintry. It's a little crazy. Or maybe do another ocean scene. I don't know. Maybe not come back at all. Many ways we could go with it. So beyond that, I love you guys. Lynn, you're amazing. A winter river would be cool. Winter rivers you always run into an issue with because the snow and the winter river ends up looking exactly the same. And so you can't tell the difference between what the river is and what the snow is. There's little ways that you can kind of separate it, but it's very cool. A sledding hill. There's this monster back here. It just takes a minute to climb up to the top. All the way back to the trees. Now, that'd be kind of fun too. You can picture literally any grassy hill would be a sledding hill. So, all right, I love you guys. I can't wait to come back. We'll do it again in a little bit. And until I see you guys again next time, I can't get to the end. There we go. Until I see you guys again next time, take care.